Hi, my name is Jessica Esparza. For this project, I chose the location of Ed Ricketts' lab in Monterey, California. Ed Ricketts' lab was of course owned and worked in by Ed Rickett, which I can show you a picture of him right here. I don't know how old he is in this picture, but there it is. Ed Rickett and the lab were mentioned in both of John Steinbeck's books, Cannery Row, and the sequel, Sweet Thursday, I think. I had read Cannery Row back in my sophomore year, and had wanted to visit Cannery Row after I read that book, and Ed Ricketts' lab was the only location I haven't gone into, and I kind of wanted to go into this year, but I wanted to research about it before I go in again, and I want to read the book actually. So Ed Rickett lived in that laboratory since 1936, and in that same year, a fire started alongside the lab, and unfortunately the lab was also caught in the flames and was completely destroyed, along with a lot of his equipment and a lot of his own stuff, and a lot of his friends and a lot of his family members all kind of pitched in and helped them rebuild the lab, because he really wanted to do all the research he was planning to do. And here's the lab as it is today and as it was rebuilt. Before the fire, I believe the stairs were on the other side and the door was in the middle. And I'm guessing the interior was also quite different, but that's also just a little tidbit. Here's the inside of the lab. What it looked like back then. It's pretty cool. All his gadgetry and bottles. I'm sure all of it is not there right now, which I don't know what it looks like right now, because again, never been in it. But I do want to. Here's a picture of the backyard of it. So, and if you don't know what these are, don't worry, I didn't know either. These actually held a lot of the specimens he collected, and he would hold the specimens, and what he initially did was to send them to different schools, like universities, elementary schools, or just specimens just to tinker with, if you will. You can still see these in the backyard. You don't even have to go into the building. Just go to the kind of like the right side of the building. There's like a little walkway, and it's gated, but you can still see through, and you can see these little canisters, or whatever they're really called. He lived in it by himself, and John Steinbeck visited him quite a lot. They were kind of like the bestest of friends, apparently. And Ed Rickett kind of had a very unusual thought of life, kind of more of the physical way of how life works, while John had the more emotional way of thinking of human life and life in general. So like, I imagine they kind of bounce back their own thoughts and beliefs and just like helped each other view the world differently than they could ever have thought. And I just think that's a cool friendship. Like, their thinking was different, but it was rooted from the same thing, which is life and how it works and how it lives. And unfortunately, Ed Rickett passed away, I believe, in 1948 in an accident. A train hit his car, and John Steinbeck, I believe, was in New York or was away, and he couldn't see his friend before he passed away, which I found feel really sad about, but that's life sometimes, you know. They do tours now. They show the inside. They give you all the details of everything inside, I'm guessing. And here's a picture of one of those tours. And you might notice that there's a lot of posters of jazz kind of people from, like, well, actually, I don't know what these posters are. I'll find out. But anyways, after he died, it was Harlan Watkins who bought the building in 1956, and he or she, I don't know, kind of invited their friends over, and one of the friends was Jimmy Leons, and an idea for the Monterey Jazz Festival was kind of birthed there. And so the lab became kind of like a, what's it called, like a club, and which I never knew about until like I looked up pictures of the lab and I saw like this, and I questioned like why are there posters there if this is supposed to be a laboratory? But that's why. It was a club for I think it was like 50 years, until like it was kind of given to Monterey to help preserve the building itself and Ed Ricketts' belongings and items. And now it's a tourist destination, I guess. You can visit there. I want to visit there. I recommend visiting there. I do want to read Cannery Row before I visit it, because I want to, you know, see a little bit more before I go in and, you know, suck all the information in and suck the place in. But yes, and that's about all the info I have of the Ed Ricketts Laboratory. Again, I recommend visiting it. I can't imagine having a friend like Ed Ricketts. So I think John was quite lucky to have a friend like that. And I remember in the documentary we watched last week, there was a section about how John, a lot of his writing kind of caused people here in Monterey and Salinas to hate him, and he was basically alone. And one of the details that I remember was that he went to Ed Ricketts for, you know, companionship, and Ed Ricketts kind of just like welcomed him back like nothing, and just they had a great friendship despite everything, like the craziness of John's life. So that's why another thing I really like about Ed Ricketts himself. So yeah, that was all the information I got. Hopefully I can find more throughout this course. My name is Jessica Sparza, and that was Ed Ricketts Laboratory. Bye.